Hey guys, it's Nicholas here from upgradetolife.com. And as you can see today with me is an amazing person, an amazing individual. By the end of this conversation, you will know why I said it this way. So, first of all, yes, guys, this is another interview setup. I invited Harris to join me today for me to interview him on his manifestation journey, on his successes, on his insights, on his learnings, and what he wants to share with you. So look forward to a really interesting conversation. We just brainstormed some of the topics that we want to bring across to you. This is from successes to pitfalls to really deep insights on IM, on shifting states. So will be really interesting. And before I speak much further, Harris, would you like to introduce yourself to the audience so that they know who I'm speaking with right now?
Thank you very much, Niklas, and thank you for having me. My name is Harris. I am 38 years old, and I reside in Sweden in a small town called Mölndal.
One thing that we came up with, right, this is which will of course relate to most people listening to this, is like the whole Neville Goddard / manifestation journey. And can you maybe give the audience a little insight since how long you've been into the manifestation sphere in general, but then also when you came across more Neville's teaching specifically, and then also how you came across me and why we are even in contact together?
Well, it was in June last year when I heard the word manifestation. I was like, what is this? I was intrigued in some way, and it was actually a friend who mentioned manifesting. So she gave me like a tiny insight. I was like, let me look into this. So I Googled it, and very early on, I started to YouTube stuff, and it didn't take a long time until I found Neville.
Mhm.
And I was like, when I listened to Neville, I was like, I was hooked.
Mm.
I was I was home. It was hard to describe. I couldn't really stop listening to him.
Mhm.
The recordings that are there, and I was like, I Googled him, and I was like, okay, this man is dead, so there's no possibility in learning from him.
Yeah.
So I started to Google manifesting coaches, and I mean, there are a lot of different coaches, but there aren't that many that are really focused on the teachings of Neville.
Mhm.
So I found maybe 5 different that I listened to, and I found your channel, and I was like, this guy sounds like Neville. There is something to this,
Mm.
and there is a lot of content on your channel. And the more I was listening, I was like, yes, Neville, this is Neville, this is Neville, and I was in a way, I shouldn't say persuaded, maybe reassured.
Mm.
Yes, this is the source. This is the one I should be learning from.
Got it.
And from finding Neville to actually contacting you,
Mm.
maybe took me 3 or 4 weeks.
Interesting.
So it was a really, really short time span.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I knew I want to learn this,
Mhm.
but I couldn't really decide who to learn from. But as time went by, it was as if your channel distinguished itself. I was like, this is the channel. This is it.
It came to the right time towards you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
did
Mhm.
it.
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay. That's perfect. Really, really interesting to hear that. And I'm, of course, till this day, really grateful that we met on this way and that I, got to work with you. So one thing, and this is actually like a little forecast type of thing, because in just a couple of minutes, I would like to ask you more on what you manifested and what your approach looks like and all of that. But in the little chat that we had previously, maybe you remember, you said to me something about the fundamentals, right? We talked about, okay, the fundamentals are crucial. And I'm sure we will come back to this point later in the conversation again about like the manifestation fundamentals, Neville's fundamentals. But right now, just as a little teaser, Like, why would you say, now that you've spent a good amount of time in Neville's teachings, that you have applied them, you manifested amazing things that we're going to cover, why would you say are the fundamentals more important than any quick other snippet of insight, snippet of knowledge? Like, why should someone also dedicate time, a little bit energy, to really learn the fundamentals? What would you say?
It is as any skill, the base knowledge and the depth of it is required to be able to master it.
Mm-hmm.
And once the fundamentals are pinned down and once all the moving parts are set, then you know how to go about it. And you don't question, am I doing this right? Should I be doing it this way or that way? You just know I got it. And there aren't many different ways to go about. There's only one way. And once get it, you don't really question, am I doing this right?
Yeah, exactly.
And that in itself is the biggest part.
Mm-hmm.
It's half of the battle.
Yeah.
To be honest.
Yeah.
And the other half is actually having the experience.
Yes.
In real life, as in, having the desire come to fruition.
Mm-hmm.
So as I see, there are two parts, the invisible part and the visible part.
Yeah.
And the invisible part is more crucial because it gives reassurance, it gives internal knowingness and a sense of being and sense of calmness.
Mm-hmm. Wonderful said. Yeah, I agree on that. I see that a lot, and this is a topic I would save for later, about these quick type of ways of learning something to get a result like really quick or immediately, or this more, like you also mentioned in a previous conversation, like this more dedicated way to actually take some time, really understand the fundamentals, really dive into it, not just on a surface level. And then this is actually all it needs. Like, it's not that we need to know this fluff and type. It's more so if we master the basics and know how to shift states, know how to zoom out and catch ourselves when we fall in an undesired state, which you've also done really successfully, and then how to come back. All the basic Neville's teachings, if we only master them, we make more progress, I would say, than someone who tries to get every snippet right. But we'll come back to this later. So an interesting area, of course, or an interesting thing that people always want to hear is the success side of things, right? A lot of people out there that have not spent the time that you did to apply, to test, to experience things, they maybe want to hear, okay, what is possible? Does it work? All these just some nice sounding concepts. So I know from you, since you have been part of my community also for a very long time, that you have achieved some really interesting things applying Neville's principles. And why don't we just dive into them, right? I mean, we also brainstormed about those ideas on your successes, and I think one that could sound like, no, that's not possible, is the same day manifestations that you already experienced. That shows that it doesn't always need to take long. Of course, the bridge is super individual, and sometimes takes longer. Sometimes it takes not so long to unfold. But you already experienced a same day manifestation, so would you like to share any of those? Would you like to share with the audience what happened there with these same day manifestations you experienced?
Yes, as Neville has said it in his teachings, every desire has its appointed hour.
Exactly.
And I also heard Neville also say there is a possibility to go throughout time and have that fixed point of time as the day of delivery, so to say. And I tried it twice and it has worked. And the first time was actually, it was a friend of mine that I seldom see because he is busy with his life, having a wife, 2 children, work, and he's like all over the place. So I see him maybe once every 2 or 3 months. And one day I literally had the desire to see him and meet him, and it was actually Tuesday. And I remember I was like, I'm gonna see him on Saturday. It was a done deal for me. I didn't speak to him. I didn't mention it to no one. It was my inner knowingness/desire. And time goes by, and we come to Friday, and for some reason, I just write in, "Hello, so what's up? How you doing?" We were chatting, shooting messages back and forth, and he said to me, "Let's meet up tomorrow." And I was like, so he is literally suggesting for us to meet up on Saturday, which was my desire 4 days ago.
Mm.
And when we met, I asked him, what made you suggest Saturday? And he said, on Wednesday, he was trying to figure out to find, time for me on that particular Saturday.
Mm.
So I was like, I nudged him in a way.
Yeah.
For him to act in that way, pushed him
Exactly.
in that way.
Mm-hmm.
So he comes into my life, or actually comes to see me on that particular Saturday.
Yeah.
I was like, wow, is this possible? But it is, as Neville
100%.
has said it, everything is possible to the man who believes.
Yeah.
I believed, and it came to fruition.
Mm-hmm. And when you also, because this is a topic, right, that many people can't wrap their head around, and it is irrational. Like, of course, manifestation is irrational. We can, to some degree, on a rational level, understand, okay, yes, I assume this, I go to the end here, but actually, how it unfolds, how it happens, is irrational in my opinion. So you asked him, right, like what happened, like how came this change of mind, or how came this thought of yours to message me, and he said that he just felt like inspired. He just had the idea to now suggest that meeting, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
he had the idea to find time on that particular Saturday to
Mm-hmm.
meet not anyone but me.
Yeah. Interesting, man.
Yes, yes,
So
it was really, really interesting.
yeah, there was this other story you also briefly touched base on in our previous conversation. Now, you can decide by yourself if you also want to share that, because there's also, of course, personal manifestations happening.
No, I have a better story to share, actually.
Please go for it.
Actually, the story that, came through today, it is
Nice.
actually me and you having a
No
success,
way.
yes way.
No way.
And you are cracking exactly the same smile I have envisioned you doing, and you're
Nice.
wearing the same black shirt or
Mm,
t-shirt, where it is that I saw you
really
already
good.
doing. And
Really
let
good.
me ask you, Niklas,
Mm,
this was my desire, my manifestation, us having this call.
nice.
Did I in any sense push you
No,
to make this
no.
interview?
I can
Did
prove,
I?
like I can right now confirm to the audience, like I was not pushed by you. Like this would be really weird, but I was like not asked by Harris if we want to do a success interview. I just out of my own inspiration asked you. I think it was via the chat or some just a couple of days ago when we started that conversation on the interview. I don't remember exactly, but I know I felt a huge impulse to be like, I need to interview you because you know what you do, man. So yeah, no push here. I just felt inspired.
Yeah,
I can confirm that.
exactly. And there was no one else on my behalf asking you,
Mm.
wasn't?
You're tricky,
As
man. You didn't told me that in the
Yeah,
brainstorming.
no, I didn't. Element of surprise.
Nice, man. Nice.
And we can pause here and speak of this interview, as Neville has said it. Every manifestation has its own ways and means to come about.
Yeah.
I didn't know when this interview would take place,
Cool.
nor did you. And to be honest, I took no action to make it so, nor did you.
Mm.
But somehow, in some way,
We ended up here.
yes. So here we are, my friend.
Perfect. Yeah. No need to pause us. We
Yeah,
can just leave
yeah,
this because it's
yeah,
perfect, man. Really nice.
yeah.
Thanks for that. So with those two manifestations, congrats. Real nice.
Yes.
Um, Another thing that I think is pretty inspiring is the one that you posted in our community also, where you helped a friend of yours, and I think it would be really inspirational for the audience to hear that. So if you want to share that one too, I think it would be cool.
Yes. So one one can ask oneself, is it possible to manifest for someone else? And the answer is yes. Uh, and a friend of mine who actually wanted to advance in her career, but didn't really see it coming or didn't know how to go about it because she felt that she lacked experience. Maybe she felt, that her age is to her advantage, and she was maybe feeding to a negative concept of herself to be able to excel. And what I did was I imagined her actually getting a new job that's a way higher position than what she previous, where she works closer to the CEO, where she earns more and has more power, so to say.
Yeah.
And it all came about. And the funny thing was, she gave me some more insights. When the CEO met her, she told her once she showed up, he knew he was going to hire her.
Hmm. Nice one. So you influence the
Yeah.
CEO with your scene
Yes,
in a way.
yes,
Yeah.
yeah. But as I said, I saw her.
Hmm.
I didn't really know where or what company. It didn't matter.
Yeah.
I knew what I was aiming for her, and I kept, her desire in myself.
Hmm.
And we can also speak of the concept everyone is yourself pushed
Definitely.
out.
Yes,
Yes.
exactly. Hmm.
So I guess she couldn't go about her life losing in that sense because I was keeping her conviction in me.
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Well done too. The topic of everyone is super shout. I will take it down. Sure. If later in the in our conversation we want to touch base more on that, I think it's a really interesting part which many people also would like to know more about. Um, just to maybe cover this part also with the successes you had for the inspiration purpose. Before we then, I would say, move really like also to the deeper aspects of I am,
Mhm.
of those realizations of shifting states, because this is like where it becomes really fun and empowering. You also mentioned this one thing where I really have to say this is incredible because this shows the power of state shifting, where you share this success story that you put yourself in a more being wanted, being a guest of honor. That's how you phrased it, a type of state to get invitations, to be at parties, to be in contact with people. I know from my conversations that I have with many people that this is also a desire that some other people have, which is to have maybe more social interactions, have more friends, or be invited somewhere, whatever it might be. So maybe you can just share what was the desire? What if you applied, if you can remember, what happened?
Well, when I started out the program and when I listened to Neville, he spoke of his teacher, Abdullah, and how his teacher conducted himself, how his teacher his life. And I was inspired. I
Mhm.
was thinking, I want that for myself too,
Mm.
being deemed, uh, sought after, treated as a guest of honor.
Yes.
And what I did was I felt myself as all of those things. And I literally accepted that as a truth in the beginning.
Mhm.
And after some time, it's kind of became more like, yes, I already have this. I already know this. In a way, like I'm taking this for granted. Of course,
Yeah.
I am this version of
Certain to you.
myself. Yes,
Yeah.
it's certain, as I said, natural. I take it for granted. Like, of
Mm.
course, I'm gonna take the next breath. Of course, I'm gonna have lunch tomorrow, as other things in life that I take for granted.
Yeah.
And what happened was things started to remodel themselves. where I would meet new people. I would get more invitations and I would meet people through new people. So
Mm-hmm.
my circle of friends got bigger and bigger. And as late as, this 2 days ago, I was invited to a party, big party, 50 guests at least. And before this call, another invitation for a nice restaurant. Of
Nice.
course, it
Nice.
just came from nowhere,
Yeah.
but it didn't come from nowhere because I am the cause.
Mm-hmm.
I have pushed everything so it circles back and will be mirrored back to me in that sense that I prefer. And whenever I imagine or whenever I assume a state, I just think for myself, let it come as it comes, but always it's pleasant and nice and it's fulfilling.
Yes. Yeah. I can agree on that too. It's mostly actually all of the times for me it came in a really surprising manner, in a really positive, very
Yeah,
fluid, very flowing manner. So perfect to hear how that expressed itself too. And it's a very, this one Neville always said, like, why don't live noble, right? Live a noble life. Why not live like in this abundance life where you can put yourself in all these desirable states? And this is one of them, right? Being wanted, being sought after. So I love how you did that. Congrats again. Real nice to hear.
thank you.
Um, I think that would lead me to now bring the conversation with you maybe more into this deeper topic. This law and what Neville also taught in his lectures and his books is bringing us to this deeper realization that all of these states are available right now, right here within us, not in our body, but in us as awareness, in us as this being, in us as this I am present right now. And I can make any state alive within myself right now. So just first of all, like when you then dove into that, how does that make you feel, or how did that change your life, or what do you want to share about this deeper insight that you gained?
When I started out and when I got to know the concept of I am and actually what it means and the depth of it, it was hard to grasp in the beginning because
Yes.
it is it is a more of a spiritual understanding and internal
Mm-hmm.
knowingness.
Yes.
And as time went by, I was like, okay, I'm starting to understand this, what it really is. And as time went by, I understood that this internal knowingness, or I am, is actually the spectator, the one that's always there and that is looking through my eyes.
Mm-hmm.
And this I amness in me is what is actually beheld on inside and with my physical body is having all of the experiences that I'm experiencing throughout life.
Yes.
Uh, big and big stuff, small stuff, sleep, food, going to work, speaking to you,
Mm-hmm.
connecting to people,
Mm-hmm.
gatherings,
Mm-hmm.
getting invited, of course. So this I amness on the inside can actually be directed or fashioned in every possible way. So I ask myself on a daily, daily level, how would I like to fashion my I amness?
Nice.
How do I want to clothe it?
Yeah.
What does it want to experience?
Mm-hmm. I think you also deeply therefore realize that you're not bound to like a current state, but that this is just a current state, a current mask, a current identification. But through your discovery that you're beyond the state, right? That this is something we have occupied or not, that you can also leave that behind and go in a new state, wear a new mask, play a new character, so to speak, on the stage of life. And would you say that there is something else that you have in mind that could match this type of freedom? Because for me, this felt like relief, freedom, calmness, inner peace, relaxation of my whole beingness and the way I speak, the way I live life in general. Have you noticed similar things, or what has it done to you?
Calmness, oh yes,
Yeah,
yes, absolutely.
yeah.
And also peace of mind.
Mm. Yeah.
to be honest. And also being able to have control over my own life,
Mm.
being the driver and not the passenger. And there is a big difference. And also to be able to choose what I wanted to be served in life
Mhm.
instead of maybe accept whatever is being served. And that is a huge difference.
100%. 100%.
Yes, and also as you said, being able to shift out and change the circumstances. I've had situations in January, unfavorable circumstances, but I imagine myself being free from that situation, and I was freed. It
Mm.
was taken away. It got dissolved.
Yeah.
So it worked. It also works when things aren't as good as I would like them to be.
Sure. Sure. That's where many
Yeah.
people then get tripped up over, right? They see circumstance, they think this fact is in my face, like this is right now how it is. These are the concrete facts. But they basically, how I like to describe it, they lost themselves in the dream of life. They lost themselves in the circumstances, which, okay, they are there right now, but they're not final because you can change your state, you can change your attitude towards things, your outlook on things, your assumptions, and what you entertain within, and that will lead to new circumstances. But if people get lost in this vicious feedback loop of looking at what is, taking a cue from that, and falling back into that state, nothing much will change. So um, that makes a lot of sense to me. It's really freeing to know that. And this is why Neville said, like, use this law to free yourself from any undesirable
Yeah.
circumstance. Even if you would be imprisoned, right? Neville said you could imagine. No one could hold you back to imagine yourself being outside of prison, to be free, to be back at home, like Neville did with his army story, where he was an army, but then he imagined that he's basically in his apartment, home, and then he manifested being honorably discharged from army. So yeah, that's perfect.
Yes. So as Neville has said it is a ticket to freedom.
Yeah.
So whatever happens in life, I don't really question why or how did this happen.
Mm-hmm.
I only imagine myself out of that situation,
Perfect.
and it works. It does.
Would you say?
Yeah.
Would you say? Because I noticed that through you in our private calls we had in the community. I noticed that in the brainstorming we did about this call. I noticed this right now as we speak. I can sense you're really calm, bold, confident when it comes to applying this law. What would you like? Would you say this has been a natural result of you applying it consciously and of those deeper realizations? Would you say that this is actually how you go about it right now, like an Abdullah, like a Neville, that are just, if it's not the end, it's not the end. If it's not my ideal end circumstance, it's not my ideal. Like I know what I want and I will be in that end. So is that your attitude, or how would you describe that to someone?
Yes, because no matter what my desires are, I know the the end I would like to experience in every sense.
Mm,
So if anything comes up, halfway, I say to myself, okay, this is only halfway, but this isn't my end.
yes.
So I can accept it for now, but I am not abandoning my end that I really do desire.
Yeah.
So it doesn't really matter how things, if they come about halfway or if it goes sideways,
Mm-hmm.
it doesn't matter.
Mm-hmm.
I am keeping a firm conviction in myself that I will have the experience.
Yeah.
It has happened where things have gone sideways, where in the end they took me into my particular end. So I have that experience. I have experience where it has been a straight path.
Mm-hmm.
Boom, it has happened, and some stuff had come in halfway, and the other half came in later.
Yeah.
So like a two-step process. It doesn't matter. But the thing is, once the knowingness is ingrained,
Mm-hmm.
you don't waver, you don't ask, you don't judge. You know where your end is, what you wish to experience. It doesn't really matter what comes along or how it looks. You don't care because you know you will be led, or maybe it'll be a slingshot effect. Doesn't really matter.
Hmm. Yeah.
You just know it's coming, and it'll come when it comes.
But this is interesting that you mentioned that, because this type of slingshot effect, it's a nice metaphor for that or analogy. This is also what a lot of people experience, right? They are in this stage one, how I describe it as well. They say, this is what I want, this is my intention. They even go in that end state and make it alive within themselves. Then seemingly the opposite happens. Seemingly no movement in a sense is happening, or first of all, the circumstances are still the same, or seemingly even worse. But then that's where they get stuck. Like that's where they judge it. They say, okay, it's not moving forward. I did something wrong. This doesn't work. But as you said, if they would basically dwell back in the end state, or make the knowingness alive again within themselves, imagine the end again, and learn a way to a safety net around it, and learn a way to remain in that end state, eventually what they previously judged or reacted on as circumstances will start to be like, okay, it's there, but I know that this is not my end. So out of their state shift, the reaction will change. Like, because they are now standing within already in the end, they see maybe the same circumstance that previously they judged as, oh, this is bad, this is against me, this is not working. Now they are internally in the end and they see the same circumstance, but now it's like, oh, that's not my end. Like, I know already where I am within. And when they remain here, then of course this fades away and new circumstances mold around them and they get the desire. And I think that's also a big tripping point in a sense, a big stumbling block. Do you have anything on that?
Yeah, as Neville has said it, every desire has its ways and means how it comes to fruition.
Yeah,
And sometimes it's a slingshot effect. Sometimes maybe it's taking 5 steps back before you can actually take steps forwards.
exactly.
You cannot really tell, or the human eye and the human mind cannot really perceive.
Hmm. Yeah.
So it's really crucial to actually stay firm on the inside and actually have the inner conviction, no matter how your circumstances might show up. Because as time goes by, as you said, some things fade away, something comes up,
Mhm.
and you just have to know, because the depth of it and the inner understanding is what is required, because this is an exercise of the inner muscle, the emotional
Yes.
muscle, and the spiritual muscle.
Hmm.
And once that muscle is trained and up and running, Usain Bolt, you will outgun him too.
Yeah.
So if the muscle isn't trained, then you'll start to waver. You will ask, why is this happening? Why am I going backwards? Why is the
Mm.
opposite showing up? But circumstances must kind of evolve or reshift themselves, so you will actually be led to the particular end.
Yes.
And we we aren't really shown in the beginning what
Hmm.
step, but those things that need to take place or happen for
Yeah.
you to come to end. So always trust on the inside, have the trust, have the firm conviction, and do not waver, and you'll be unstoppable.
Nice. What would you say?
And
I would be intrigued to know that. But how has your relationship changed to the 3D world? It's like it's this used term mostly in the community, but the outside world, basically the world of senses. How is your relationship changed, or has your relationship? I'm just sure, has that changed in a way, and has that changed towards a positive way where you no longer run away from it? Maybe it's like a concluding question on the subject.
yes, when I started out, I was asking, questioning, why are things as they are? How did it come to be?
Yeah.
Um, some things seemed impossible, and where I'm today, I don't care. So it's
Nice.
I really don't.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's a huge shift and a huge relief, for the mind
Yeah.
and my overall wholesomeness.
Yeah.
And being armed with the law, the circumstances may appear as they appear. I don't really care,
Yeah.
because I know what I'm holding on the inside,
Hmm.
and I'm not abandoning nor my inside nor myself, because I can stand firm in it because I've had experience of going through how to manifest. When I started out, my biggest desire was actually to manifest a version of me that can manifest, and that has come. Yes,
Nice. And you used
yes,
the
yes,
law to go into that
yes,
version. Yeah, pretty good.
yes, yes, and I brought it forward, and I brought forward other stuff. So I don't really waver, and I don't really care what's happening on the
Yeah.
outside. I just go within, and I know what I've seen as I've seen you before we have had this call. That black shirt, that smile, that's Mike.
Nice.
So it's a matter of time, and I don't really care how much time it takes
Yeah.
because there are many other things happening at the same time. Desires coming to pass or manifestation coming to pass. So
Mhm.
it will come when it comes.
I think this is on so many levels amazing that I can't even cover all of these levels and
Mhm.
even put in words how powerful that is. But one thing that separates you to
Mhm.
some people that are constantly still being hearers of the word of the teachings but not doers is that you just said that okay, the circumstances they become like less affecting you, right? I'm sure you don't ignore circumstances. Like you walk through life and you have life experiences, you're not ignoring them. But if there is something in your life that is not the end yet, that is not to your ideal yet, you know that this means nothing. Like you know that I will remain in my inner reality in the end state until my outer reality basically confirms that. And that's powerful too. But I think the difference here is that you only have this healthy relationship with the outside world because you mastered your inner reality, right? A lot of people say, oh, how can I ignore my circumstances? How can I ignore my circumstances? I tell them, first of all, if you try to ignore them, that means that you try to run away from them. That means that you try to run away from your triggers and you still think that the 3D basically is set in stone and none of your current facts of life can change. And secondly, is that only when you actually do the inner shift and experience the end state, like you did, by, for example, imagining a scene and you develop this knowing, then you know that the 3D world can no longer affect you because you know where you stand within in your inner reality from experience. And I think this is all the stuff that you mastered.
Yes, because as I said, this is a spiritual and also emotional exercise, let's say. And one of the biggest takeaways for me is actually the ability to, shut off my mind, actually go within, to be able to, plug out from the real world and plug into the inner world.
Yeah.
And actually to be able to, disengage and shut off so and my brain doesn't really ask anymore for evidence. How will it come through? When will it come through? Or
Mm-hmm.
is this even possible? Doesn't.
Yeah.
And because the critical part of the mind, asks for evidence, of course. That's how I was brought up.
Yeah.
But
We most of
yes,
us are. So yeah.
yes,
Yeah.
yes. And when I came into the law, I've learned what the inner world does, how I can actually influence my life
Mhm.
and actually influence myself, my state of being. That is the biggest takeaway. Also, conquering myself
Yeah.
in a different sense and actually have the ability to impact my life, my circumstances. It doesn't really matter how awful things seem
Mhm.
or how bad it seems. As I acknowledge whatever it is, I say, okay, it is what it is. I imagine something else. Time goes by, and what I have imagined comes like it springs, like a flower that grows in the spring.
Yeah. Nice.
And
Correctly.
I don't question. I just know. And it's it is hard to explain in words when you speak of that you know. And in the
Yes.
knowingness, it
Yes.
comes through the experience.
Yes.
And when you know what you've done in the past and what it has brought to you,
Mm-hmm.
and when you kind of keep on going,
Mm-hmm.
you just know it'll be as I imagined it.
Wonderful. Perfect. Maybe, my mission, of course, also with the channel, with this interview, is to bring more people towards being a doer of the teachings, which doesn't mean focusing on external actions, which means to do the correct inner movement to really apply this law. Is there maybe a tip or maybe an your favorite way of doing a state shift, others say a reality shift, but to go from these are my circumstances, I'm identified with this. Oh, wait a sec, I want this. I want to be in that state. I want to experience that. Can you maybe put in words how you do that? Is it, more of a basic approach to imagine a scene that implies that, which is one of my favorite ways that Neville talked about mostly? Or what do you do? Is there something that you would like to share a listener right now to this video that heard all the things we talked about previously, but they don't know right now? Okay, like what can I do right now to get some results? So what would you say to such a person? What do you do?
I have different answers for different people depending on what level they're on.
Yeah,
So I will give the same answers on different levels.
perfect. Let's go. Nice.
So first of all, you have to decide what it is that you actually want and be certain about it, and it has to be a burning desire. And shut off the brain. Don't even think about it to ask yourself or doubt, is this possible?
Yeah.
And close your eyes and try to visualize or see or maybe hear or feel the reality of whatever your wish is,
Exactly.
and kind of go with it, on a daily basis. Maybe it takes a day, maybe it takes 3 days or 7 days. Some stuff took me 2 months
Mm.
to get a natural feeling of it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And the more you do it, the more you feel the inner shift happening, where things do not seem impossible anymore, where things seem more natural, even though it seemed impossible
Yes.
maybe a week ago or 2 months ago.
Yeah.
Suddenly you have this inner shift where it's like you go from it'll never happen to this might
Yeah.
actually happen
Yeah.
to it's gonna happen.
Yeah. Can,
But
can
it
I
takes,
quickly say something?
yeah, yeah,
I do not mean to interrupt you. This is so powerful because look what you just explained, Harris, from an observer perspective, basically right now is this. Many people think that they need to believe from the beginning on, like they have this desire, I want this flat, this relationship, this car, this money, this job, this whatever, right? And they say, oh, but I can't believe it. I can't believe it. I can't believe it. And what you just said is the perfect explanation. I also have a video on the channel about this, which is called How to Actually Believe, which is that when we go into the end state of that desire, when we basically align us within to having it, and then maybe we drop off, can happen, but we bring ourselves back to we have this, we experience it in our imagination, we experience the reality of it. Could be other techniques too, but this is of course one of the most just baseline ways to go. Then at some point, like you said, the belief in it, the faith will come as a consequence of us actually having gone in that end state again and occupied it again and occupied it again. And then we'll be like, wow, actually, yes, this does exist. Oh, this is actually done. I am actually already having this within myself. And then we experience this calmness, this knowingness, this conviction, which in the previous state is not available. Like from this state, we can't always believe that this is there or possible. But when we go through our awareness in that state and become aware of it again and again and again, and then we develop this. So, guys, take notes. Listen, guys and girls, like take notes, listen to what Harris is saying because he's sharing like truth bomb of the really important things. So, and only with all of that happen again for you, most of the stuff within a year. Um, yeah, please, if there's anything else you want to share, another level, this was really good
yeah.
explanation. Yeah,
I mean, what I explained was where I started out, and
yeah,
how I do it today is completely different.
nice.
I don't re I don't close my eyes or visualize. I just assume
Yeah.
it's done on the inside, and my mind just produces flashes of my desires
Mhm.
or my manifestations.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't really have to press my mind to, oh, I have to, visualize this, or I have to feel this in my imagination, or I have to hear this in my imagination, as I did in the beginning,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
because, forcing to imagine something that was, kind of blur or forced. As soon as you are forcing things to be, that isn't the way to go.
Yeah,
And as you said it, as Neville said it, this should be easy. This should be fun.
exactly.
So I have found an easy way for me, a way that is fun.
Yeah.
So I just do on the go,
Yep.
wherever I'm at,
Mm-hmm. No technique
whenever I am.
required.
No,
Yeah.
no, exactly. No technique required. I only assume, and I literally take it for granted. It is done. And I kind of forget about it. It's like, oof, it shows up. And to be honest, when I started out, I was really focused on, come on, manifestations. Oh, come on, come, things to come through.
Yeah.
And where I'm at today, I don't really care. I still have desires, don't
Yeah.
get me wrong. I'm not saying that, but I don't really care how it will come about,
Mm.
for who or
That's
when,
good.
because I have conquered myself on
Yeah.
the inside. I can steer myself. I can, be in charge of myself, of my life, reality. I can have an impact, and I can have whatever I want. And there is no limit to me.
Yeah.
There is no, as I said, sky is the limit. There is no sky.
Yeah.
So yes, I have present desires. I mean, there will be stuff in the future that I'll want,
Mm.
and even in the future, cool. I know how to go about it to
Mm-hmm.
get it.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're setting yourself up, for the present moment, the near future, and the longer future.
Yes.
So what have I gained? Everything, to be honest.
Yeah.
I have. Yeah. I have, yes, I have many other successes to share. Don't get me wrong. They are cool, but it isn't not even close as cool as the coolness of, conquering myself
Yes.
and
Yes.
coming in terms of the realization of I am and what I really am on the inside, and being able to disengage from a human experience and really get a firm grasp on the eternal being.
Mhm.
And that is priceless,
Yeah.
priceless.
Honestly, what you just shared, and I know this sounds maybe a little bit like a buzzword, whatever, but I still want to point it out because this, in my opinion, means a huge step towards life mastery, a huge step
Right?
towards self-empowerment, a huge not no, that's wrong to say. It's not a huge step. It is the step towards life mastery, towards mastering of your inner world, of your where you stand within, where you dwell within, what to assume next. Being aware of, oh, there's a fear coming up, and seeing that you're not the fear, like everything you have done, like this is true self-empowerment, like this is true mastery, like you said it, of yourself, of your inner world, which will not just benefit you for manifesting me doing the next interview with you, which will be fun. I'm sure we will probably have a second one if people also want to hear that. But this is for the rest of your life right now. I'm going to stay with you these teachings. And I honestly think this is what so many people overlook. They have these one or two desires. This is all they can think about right now. But once they find a way to get into the fulfillment of them within, other stuff will come up. Life is not over when you manifest the desires that you have right now. I can guarantee that for everyone that is listening right now. So you've done amazing work, man. I'm just really happy to, yeah, like work with people, interview people, be in contact with people that are also actively devoting themselves to learn it, applying it, testing it, practicing it, getting amazing results. So that's it's wonderful for me. Honestly, nice.
Thank you, Nicholas. Thank
Yeah,
you. I appreciate it.
nice. Yeah. Is there something, first of all, that you want to bring to the audience? Like, I know we spoke already, even though this conversation seems to be like, and we just talked, I'm sure, about a lot of really insightful
Yeah.
stuff, but is there something right now that you want to put out into the community, into people listening to this, because this probably 5,000, 6,000 people, I don't know exactly, will see this video, maybe more, maybe less, I don't know. But what would you like to share towards a person? Is there anything that is on your mind?
Yes, the the world of manifesting is huge out there. When you YouTube it, Google it, you can find, a lot of information, and the most of it is useless because many videos are, well, clickbait, where they promise you'll manifest in 30 seconds, 17 minutes, or if you do this technique or that technique. They are literally trying to, get views,
Mm.
but
Mm.
they are missing out on the internal part that needs to be set. And it's hard. It would be as if, be in my present shape, and now you say, okay, Harris, go and run a marathon, 42 kilometers. No way. I wouldn't be able to because I'm not marathon fit.
Yeah, yeah.
And you will never be manifesting fit if you are not actually trained, have this trained muscle on the inside, and the understanding, the
Mhm.
awareness. And when that is set, you will not need any videos. And to be honest, I don't really listen to, different videos. I only listen to Neville on a
Mm.
daily basis. Couple of minutes, it doesn't matter. I don't really care about other coaches. The only coach you need is Nicholas. Because, as I said,
Honestly.
each channel, his teachings extinguished themselves in the beginning
Mm.
because I recognized Neville in what he was, maybe it's wrong to say preachy, but how
Mhm.
you were explaining it,
Mm.
different concepts, different stuff, what's on YouTube. And that's why I was like, well, of course, this is a done deal for me. And when we had the initial call, it was an easy call. It was decided like in 30 minutes, 35, let's do this. I jumped on the train, and fast forward, here we are.
We're here.
I have, yes, yes, here we are. And I have literally, I came through a different version of myself. And I really do understand what it means when it comes to internal shifting, when it comes to self-empowerment. And many out there that are teaching this haven't really considered the depth,
Mm.
or and also they do not have the depth of the complete knowledge that is there when it comes to how Neville was teaching this.
Yeah.
And me knowing what I know, I can distinguish really,
Mhm.
easily, pretty
Yeah.
fast, who knows and who doesn't know.
Mhm.
And those who really know this, there are few. There are
Nice.
few.
Yeah.
Niklas is one of them, and maybe one and only that's, that is on this level. Yes, I must give it to you. I
There
really do.
was a quote up, man. First of all, thanks for the for this really nice yeah, your nice view on my way of actually teaching the law. I appreciate that, honestly. There was a really interesting quote of the week that I recorded recently where Neville said, "This knowledge, not the knowledge of it, but I meant the felt knowledge of that, the experienced knowledge of that, and being able to really understand it, apply it, and know what all of that means. This whole law, shifting states and manifesting things like." Everyone thinks, oh yeah, okay, I've learned, I've watched some videos now, I know it. Honestly, Neville said there is 1 in a million of people, like one person in a million actually knows like what the hell they're talking about, knows how this works, can do this. And I come to this point where I see it's maybe not 1 in a million. We are already two people, but honestly, it's not that everyone really knows the depths of the teachings, like you just said. And this is what I think is the what makes the difference, right? The subtle stuff works for quick time. You can manifest, yeah, you can manifest changes. Okay, all cool, totally get it. But going all in for me means what you experience, which is the more freedom, the more long-term results, and eventually also means the easier results, like the more flowing type of fluid way of manifesting. So, um, yeah, that's just my opinion on it.
Yeah, when I started out, every content creator that is out there, everything sounded cool. Wow. wow. And when I listened to, the same material that I listened to the beginning, I was like, oof, no, this is wrong.
Yeah. Yeah,
But the thing
it's
is,
definitely the case.
yeah, and the thing is, when you have no knowledge of anything, you can be, persuaded and swayed in every direction,
Yeah.
and you will not be able to distinguish what is what are the true teachings, and what what are like phony teachings,
Yeah.
at least say. Yeah.
We should start a movement like stop the stop the manifest anything in 17 seconds stuff. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. But yeah, it's again, I agree on this one of you, and it's nice to also hear that. I think we covered a lot. What I always like to do towards the end is to ask two things. Okay, that I would definitely like to know about you. Um, the first thing will be this, and then we come to the last thing will be like your last tip, your last statement, your last thing that you have spontaneously on your mind. So, but now for anyone that is listening to this conversation right now, Harris, and that thinks, okay, what these two guys just talked about actually makes sense. I like Neville. I resonate with his way of teaching, awareness, I am, shifting states, going to the end, learning how to be in the wish fulfilled, like all of that. And they didn't know that I have this. I do have an offer. Yes, I have this program. I have the free masterclass, but I have the program as well. Um, would you say, because some people message me, they are fearful about jumping on the call with me or my team on this because they think that I will like shove that into their mouths and be like, get this type of stuff. Just for those people, would you say that they can go on this call? Would you should say they go on this call only when they feel good about it? Or what would be your intuitive, non-scripted answer would be on that?
you know, just book the call.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
Nice.
do the
Got
call.
cool.
That's it.
As easy as
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, it's easier that
Yeah.
because
Okay,
remember,
nice.
the first time you and me spoke, it was in July last year. I think it was the 10th of July, if I'm mistaken. And to this day, you are the same person. You have the same way of being, pleasant, same pleasantness. So there are no different versions of
Yeah. Yeah.
Nicholas. And if you are considering, should I make this? Just make the call.
Nice.
That's it. And Nicholas, I did the call. I joined the program, and the thing that really struck me was how it was structured. All those, was it 5 or 6 weeks?
Five. Right now, five. With
Yeah,
previously, maybe you were in the still part of the first version, and then I made
yeah,
it like five modules basically.
yeah,
Five
yeah. Yeah,
main topics that we go through. Yeah.
yes, all those modules and things, how those modules kind of, this is module one, and how module one ties into module two, how module two ties in three and four
Yeah.
and five, and everything together. And it was like, that's when you get to kind of first overall picture.
Mm,
And as time goes by, you test the law, you test yourself, you come to a realization. And if it weren't for the program, to be honest, I don't think that I would be able to get to this level as fast
nice.
as I did.
Powerful.
Uh, and how you have structured it, and those you have taken Neville's teachings and really, compressed them in a unity that's consisting of different modules, and that's what you need.
Hmm.
Instead of listening to different content creators, and it can be overwhelming to listen to Neville because you don't understand it.
Yeah.
It's really nice to listen to him, but when it's hard to put it into perspective when you don't really understand what he's talking about. And some things that I'm listening today, that I listened maybe half year ago, I'm starting to understand more and more.
Yeah.
It's like, aha, but I
Mhm.
know your program helped me to reach that level. So another slingshot effect.
Nice. Perfect. Perfect. Some people, by the way, because you mentioned right now the structure, like the contents of that, some people do think that I have like the same that I share on YouTube. It's like just I have like just a course or whatever. would you say that also the private community part of it and the weekly call type of structure where you speak with me, did that also add it to you, or was it mainly for you? I don't know. Honestly, I don't know. Would it be more of the contents in the program that helped you, or
Well,
a mixture of everything?
first of all, I mean, all those modules,
Yeah.
then the weekly calls every Saturday. Of course, there's some people asking different questions, because even it doesn't really matter if it isn't my question, I might end up in the same situation.
Yeah.
So it's good to actually, get an answer how to go about it
Mhm.
when I'm in the same situation. And there is also a private community where we share stuff, ask questions, how to go about stuff. And you do need a community of
Mhm.
like-minded people.
Yeah.
It's always, I mean, no one can master everything on his own.
Yeah.
You need other people who can help you fill out the gaps.
I love how you say this. The interesting thing is, you know the platform that we're on, right? And the founder of this platform, the founder of the platform that we're on, he is, like, as you can imagine, real big on communities, because this is like community with the contents and the calls and all of that. But he's saying that the future of learning online, or what is just really helpful, like you said, is like also this community. And I noticed this myself, because just being in contact with you, being always in the program, being surrounded by all of these people manifesting, applying, Neville, getting better, tweaking things, like you, from starting to now being, at the perfect level, I would say. This is so nice to be around those people, and I think this would have helped me in the beginning really well too. Anyways, thanks for those insights. Really, really amazing. As a last thing, so just to give someone, to the listener that's still sticking with us up until this point right now in the conversation, and thanks to you guys that are staying with us right now, what would be maybe your final tip, to these, maybe the 10-20% of people, I don't know how much people exactly watch till the end, that are still listening to this. Do you have a spontaneous tip, something you want to share? We talked about IAM, shifting states. Techniques are not everything, but of course, helpful tools, your successes. Anything where you would say this is nice to hear at the end, the final tip and a motivational, inspirational thing, what would that be?
Oof,
If you
I
have
can.
something. If not,
Oh,
then
I have I have many things,
yeah.
but I would say, if you are interested in metaphysics, as these teachings are, and in the same way, help yourself to improve your life.
Mhm.
Doesn't really matter in what sense.
Mm.
Money, health, relationships, or something else. I mean, this is actually a tool that you can incorporate and actually help yourself
Mm.
have a different quality, better quality of life.
You mean
And
imagination, like those principles are the tool, or
yes,
yeah,
yes, yes,
yeah,
the
yeah,
Neville's teachings
yes.
are the tools, and actually to have a way to go about life, to influence your life,
Mm.
and whatever quality means for you or me or anyone else, you can actually have that quality, whatever it contains. It doesn't
Mhm.
really matter, because I decide for myself, and so do you. You decide for yourself and everyone else. So why should I accept someone else's quality when I can have my own quality? And that's
Nice.
that's something worth fighting for.
Mhm. It is. It is.
Yeah.
Man, what should I say? Like, this was amazing. Honestly, I hope that the people
Thank you,
that listen
Nicholas.
to us could understand, and we could have went way more deeper. Like, I wasn't sure exactly how deep we go. We could have went like way deeper into the I am, way deeper into consciousness, way deeper into creation is finished, all of those true self-realization type of direction. What we can do, again, people, guys and girls, if you're listening to this right now and you enjoyed this and you want me and Harris to do maybe a second part of that where we go deeper on some subjects, then write it in the comments. I'm reading them. Maybe Harris will also look sometimes in the comments and see what you guys tell us, and then we could do a second part. So please let us know. But for now, I think we should end it for today. This was applause for me. I hope that you enjoyed it too, Harris. And amazing to have you on the channel. Thanks for the interview.
Thank you, Nicholas.
You're welcome, man. Speak to you soon. Bye.
Bye.